Hello and greetings. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, and we're going to talk about people getting fat today. In my country, and I'll repeat this once more people join the chat, but in my country, they removed some of the lockdown restrictions. And now finally, I could go outside and meet with people without needing paperwork, without having to play papers, please. And literally everyone that I met got fat. Everyone, including myself, were fat from staying at home. We are fat. Except one girl. Except one girl. Sorry, not girls. Except one girl. She didn't get fat. She got pregnant. So there's that. But like I definitely got fat. I think I will go to one of those gyms where you can do rock climbing. But that's going to be later on when the Romanian government graces the gyms to be able to open. And no, a lot of people were happy. Like I walked out, I took a little bit of a walk, and I couldn't believe just how many people were outside. They were all wearing muzzles, though. Legally, you're only supposed to wear a muzzle if you go into a shop or a store. But no, people were walking outside in the park with muzzles, and it was like, okay, that is interesting. And yeah, everyone was happy to be out. And then there were like people on Facebook going like, "Oh, look how many people are out. Are they unaware of the consequences?" Like, shut the fuck up. Quite interesting, especially in the United States. Like, I understand that in one state it is illegal to restrict people in Wisconsin. The Supreme Court decided that the lockdown is unconstitutional. The World Health Organization has said that Sweden has taken the best measures. But YouTube is saying that if you talk against the quarantine, if you talk against the lockdown, you get punished. But the question is, like, until when? Like, in December 2024, if I talk against the lockdown, is it bad? Like, when can we actually talk about, maybe it's a good idea to let people go back to work because they pay taxes and they keep the healthcare system running. When can you actually say something like that? Meanwhile, in other parts of America, I hear that flattening the curve. It's like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. But now they're talking about finding a cure. It's like it's not about flattening the curve anymore. It's about finding the cure. Tucker Carlson made a video about it on his show on Fox News. That's on YouTube, so I guess I can also talk about it. But then you also have this, which is very interesting, and this was thought provoking. I like it when people use something that provokes your thinking. You have a couple of gentlemen. I think this is in the United States, and is saying, "My car, my choice. Let me drink and drive. My feelings are more important than your life." So basically, like, this is saying that the government forcing you to stay at home is pretty much the same. Like, the government doesn't allow you to drink and drive. But there's a major difference between that, isn't it? Like, it's only first of all, the infringement of your rights are minuscule compared to putting a person under house arrest. The second one is you don't punish every single driver. Like, it's like the government saying no one is allowed to drive cars from this day forward. Because let's assume there's some new drug on the market that some people like to take, and we can't detect it in the bloodstream or not, but what we can see is that the number of car crashes has risen dramatically. So because we cannot tell which person has taken this drug and which person is not, we don't allow anyone to drive anymore. Like, that would be the equivalent. Okay, like drink and driving, like you make a conscientious decision to drink, and then you also make a conscientious decision to drive. The stay-at-home order is basically even for healthy people that don't have it, but they might have it. So that's why the government says you need to stay at home. It's not literally the same. It's why the Supreme Court found one unconstitutional and the other one didn't. Like, laws against drink and driving are not unconstitutional, from what I know. It's a mockery of the pro-abortion slogan, "My body, my choice." Yeah. Well, it's not like really your body, your choice. Like, you're not allowed to do cocaine in certain states. It's your body. and you could choose to do hardcore drugs, but it's still illegal. So no, like my body, my choice is not really recognized by the law. But I guess, like it's the same with drinking and driving, is that you're endangering others. It's not really about yourself. Oh yeah, thank you for the shirt. Like as I mentioned, in my country, the lockdowns were restricted a little bit, and some businesses opened. So my girlfriend finally went shopping and bought me a Puma T-shirt, and I'm like, oh wow. She did that when I was asleep, and that was like really nice. Puma. I am having a good day up till now. I don't know, maybe things will change. But so far, the day is excellent. Excellent day. What should we talk about? We should talk about Germany banning flags now. So burning the European Union and other flags can now bring a jail term in Germany. I remember a lot of people from Germany, actually. Some activists. I do speak with activists of all stripes, believe it or not. Some of them happen to be communists. Some of them are into social justice. And they were like, oh, Trump wanting to ban the burning of the American flag, that should be illegal. And I kind of agree. I think it's free speech. Banning a flag, it's not really about the piece of cloth. It's about the symbol, right? Like it's a person that is completely against what the flag stands for, and he wants to tell it to the world by burning it. It's pretty much the same like someone burning a Bible or a Quran or whatever. It's a free speech issue. Like you're not burning the book because you hate it or you want other people to not get that. It's symbolic. It's basically like you're really against. It really depends, like what the flag is. Like burning, let's say the ISIS flag can mean one thing. Burning a communist flag can mean another. But in Germany, apparently, you cannot now burn flags. I'm pretty much sure that this is just a reason to prevent people from burning the European Union flag. Because I haven't heard about people burning any other flags in Germany. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Show me articles with other people that burn flags. But yeah, so no, Germany does not have free speech. I don't know when people thought that they do. But what is interesting is, let's say I bring from Romania, right? I travel to Germany. And I bring a historical Nazi flag, like something that I get from an antique store. And I take it all the way to Germany and they find me with it. How will they get rid of the flag? Because it's illegal in Germany. How do they get rid of it? Like, it's a good question. Like, they can't burn it now. So what do they do with it? Like, do they put it in a sacred place in order to make sure that no one can ever touch it again? Like, how do they get rid of this evil paraphernalia? Germany has made public burnings of the EU flag or that of another country punishable by up to 3 years in jail. Okay, so it's just countries that exist now, I take it. Like if I bring a Confederate flag or something like that in Germany, then it's probably historic, so it's fine to burn it. The vote in the parliament on Thursday, like, can you imagine this? Like, you have German politicians that just sit around thinking, okay, what should we ban people from doing? Like, our people are way too free. They have way too much freedom. What legislation can we pass? Because, you see, the world is not a better place when people have more freedoms and we just restrict what's absolutely necessary to restrict. No. The perfect utopia comes with heavy restrictions of freedom. Massive restrictions of freedom. To the point where you have to micromanage everything that goes on in a person's life. Basically what they are saying is that Romania is de facto a worse country than Germany because here we can burn flags. So therefore, it must be a worse country because people have more freedom than in Germany. Is this that? Oh my god. The same applies for the EU anthem. Beethoven's Ode of Joy theme. See, this is why I think that it's about the European Union and not really about, flags in general. They are protecting way too much their little pet project. There's a lot of Germans that are starting to not like the European Union for various reasons. Usually financial, not cultural in nature, but mostly economic. They're starting to ask some questions. It's like, why do I pay so much taxes to for Eastern Europe that go to other countries? Did we solve the homelessness problem here? Did we fix everything and everything is so fine that we can now afford to pour money into other nations? And people are starting to ask this, and it's not okay. So, they now need to punish people for, I guess, burning the EU anthem. The move followed by the Social Democrat complaints about protesters burning the Israeli flag in Berlin 2017. Yes, protesters. I would like to see a picture of those protesters that burned the Israeli flag in 2017. But here's the thing. If they wouldn't burn the flag, would that really change their ideology? Would that really change their opinion? Would it really change? Like, what is the problem? Is the problem that those people have negative thoughts towards Israel? Like, you can have negative thoughts towards any other country on earth, but towards Israel, like, come on, we need to draw the line somewhere at basic common decency. So is that the problem? Or is it the problem that they're just burning the flag? Like, do they think it's like witchcraft? It's like a reagent? You just burn the flag and things happen out there in the world because you did that? Of course, I generally do not care. Like, if someone were to burn a Romanian flag, my main concern is, like, why do they hate the country so much? And I would want to have a conversation. Maybe I can change their mind or something, But, like, just not allow them to burn it. That doesn't change the fact that those people exist. That doesn't change the fact that those people still hate my country. And that doesn't change the fact that the issue wasn't really addressed. You just swept it under the rug, I guess. Justice Minister Christine Lambrecht, a member of the center-left SPD, said burning flags publicly has nothing to do with peaceful protests. What do you mean it has nothing to do with peaceful protest? Where is the violence? I mean, if in Germany violent protests are burning a flag, I wonder what term of comparison would you have for the protests in my country where police get beaten to a pulp? Like, that would be, or like in France, where they start breaking down stores and setting fire to cars and stuff. Like, what is that? What is that? But no, apparently burning a flag stokes up hatred, anger, and aggression. Motherfucker, if you have people on the streets, they're already angry about something. Oh my god, like, imagine, this is why the left can't be, like, how many layers of constructivism of constructions do you need to come to the conclusion that if people are outside, rather than they're minding their own business, especially in this day and age, fat people like myself, do you know what it takes for me to go outside and protest against something and risk getting hit by a water cannon? Like, that is something bad, alright? So if people are already outside, yes, they are hateful and they're angry about something. That's why they're protesting. Oh my god, like, I just, when I guess hatred and anger, like, we need to criminalize hatred and anger. So how do you suppose people are going to protest then? Like, seriously, like, if it's a serious issue, I don't know, what was the last serious protest in Germany about something? Just give me a protest that you agree with. How do you expect it to go around? Like, everyone is cheering and smiling and singing Kumbaya? What type of protest would that be? Oh my god. Like, let's talk about the miners' strike in my country, where people were losing their jobs and they were out there protesting. Like, how do you think they're smiling and they're laughing and they're cheerful and they're like, oh, ha, 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 we're all so funny and inclusive here? Ha, ha, ha. No, they're angry. Oh my fucking god, what I'm reading here is astonishing. AFD has condemned the new law as excessive interference in free speech and artistic expression. Yeah, imagine a world where what the media calls to be the Nazi party is actually the only one that still fights for human rights. Unbelievable. The act of defining the Union flag in the UK is not a crime, but France has made desecration of the flag punishable. Yeah, it kind of goes to tell you why the UK has nothing to do with, doesn't want to have anything to do with your little pet fascist project. Like a fascist project that's against, like, human expression and human rights. And by the way, like, I'm not saying, that the reason the EU is a problem because you can't burn a flag. No, it's the mentality of the people at the helm. It's like, yes, how can we restrict the liberties of our citizens? And this is just one of the many symptoms. Like, it's not that this is not the issue. And what's really funny is that they completely recognize the problem when America wants to do it. Like, Trump says we should make a law that prevents people from burning the US flag. And everyone, fascist! Oh, but when the EU does it, progressive! Progressive! Very progressive. Like, oh my god, like, I cannot stand these people. They're insane. German protests like twice per day in Berlin. Yes, I need to make a song about it. It's really interesting. It doesn't get displayed in the media almost at all. Almost at all, I haven't seen it. I'm not saying it's not, but I didn't see it. I saw a couple of videos on YouTube though. There was like this guy with walking sticks, just going around, crawling towards the cops. It was just surreal, you know. Like imagine this guy that probably has 2 broken legs because it was like 2 walking sticks, right? Like if you have a broken leg, you get a walking stick. But if you have 2 broken legs, you get 2 walking sticks. He was like that kid from Breaking Bad. What was the name of the kid? Walter Jr. Yes, Flint or whatever, you know. And the guy with 2 walking sticks was just charging the cops like he was crawling towards the cops. He was crawling in order to get to the cops to be in the battle. I'm like, what the hell? You know, like 2 crutches. Yes, like the guy was walking like fiddlesticks from League of Legends, with 6 appendages, just like running towards the car, like. It was Flint. Like, just how pissed off would that guy have to be? Like, no, seriously, just how bad things are that you have a guy with crutches just going towards the police. I got a new job. Have some German money. Man, they're not German. They're European. They're above Germany. Let me see if I can find something very funny. But it's going to take a little while. Because it's also something speaking about protesting. I don't know if I have it at handy. Probably I can find it if I Google it. Let me try the magic of Google. Jesus, their search engine is so broken that unironically I'm going to start using DuckDuckGo in the future. Like at least DuckDuckGo, yes, it shows me pornography. Like that's the problem with DuckDuckGo. You search for something and then it gives you porn. At least Google doesn't do that. But still, at least DuckDuckGo is now more functioning. I don't think I can find. There we go. I found it. Okay, so I think it's from UK. Now, look at this motherfucker. Like, I don't know what this protest is about. I don't know who started it. I don't know anything about. The only thing that I know is that this. I don't even know if I can call him human. Like, this is just like a super soldier. You know, it's like someone that got infused with Mako in order to gain super abilities. And he is bending this baton in anticipation. Like, he is twisting this metal bar in anticipation of what's going to happen. It looks like Officer Clegane here was going to the gym. You know, he was infusing, he was gouging himself on the testosterone and other hormones. And then he gets a call. And instead of going to the gym, he had to skip leg day for this. And he's going to just give all of his frustration, all of that, you know, pent up frustration, he's going to take it on the protesters. I would not want to be on the protester side in this. Like, I really would not want to be on whoever has to meet Officer Clegane that day. It's just like insane. You know, the only like a good horror movie with this would be to see a picture of before and after he met Officer Clegane. Like that's what I would want to see. Holy fork! I actually got a V-stream before deletion. I'll try to delete them less. No, this guy looks like a person that does skip leg day. Yes. You know, this is the type of guy that if he punches you, 4 other people around you also fall down. Like, his punches must do AoE damage. I don't even know why they give him this bar. Maybe he is twisting this bar in order to try and break it and show he doesn't need it. I generally, like, it does seem to be a little bit unfair, does it? Oh, I would make a joke, but you know what? Fuck it, I'll make a joke. He looks like a transgender on an all-women team. That's how he looks, like South Park. You know, when South Park depicted transgenders, yes, that's how I look. And all of these guys are the little girls. And this guy is he's the Diablo to Barbarian, yeah. It is definitely Mav, you know. I can't make jokes like this anymore. You know, this is why a lot of people are asking, why don't I debate anymore? It's like, because I can't be myself, that's why. I can't make jokes. I can't actually say something edgy, because it's going to be interpreted as a hate speech, and it's like you're marginalizing people, as if people actually suffered because a Romanian twat made a joke that day. Go give him a squeeze V, it will be fine. Man, can you imagine, like, the most difficult job in the world must be being this guy's girlfriend? How can you hug something like this? Like, it's a chore. You know, like, he comes home late from work and you need to hug him. Like, how do you give him a hug? Like, he's too large. By the way, this reminds me of something. It's actually really funny. Okay, so you guys know the blood pressure machine that, you know, whatever the English word for it is. We call it tensiometro. But basically it's like something that you wrap around the patient's arm and you start pumping and you measure the blood pressure. And I have a patient that comes in looking like this. And the fucking manometer wouldn't wrap around his arm. Like, literally, and I'm a little bit confused, like, what do I do? So we have, like, this other instrument. I have to go all the way to orthopedics in order to get it. And it's the thing that you use for the leg, and you use it in order to measure the blood pressure of the leg. And the idea is that you measure it from one leg, you measure it from the other, and if it's a too big of a difference, then there must be some artery clogged. So I got, you know, the thing for the leg, and I had to wrap it around the guy's arm because, like, it wouldn't work the normal way. And no, the guy wasn't just as muscular. He had other conditions. That's a guy you fight with either 6 guy with axes or semi-automatic shotguns. But I don't know. Like, this guy looks like something with the RoboCop music, you know? Ta-da-da-da-da, ta-da-da-da. And other people just unload it to him and he just won't go down. Like, this is a super soldier. That's how I would describe him. No, seriously, when this guy walks on the street, he's got his own theme music. Like, you know, seriously, he gets out of his car, it's like ta-da-da-da-da, ta-da-da-da. And before I get copyright strike for singing it. I wonder if he's like German. That would be even more stereotypical. Yeah, exactly. Like, if you shoot him, you make him angry. You know, if you make a turn-based strategy with that guy, you shoot him and it's like a sign above him and it says Berserk. I think he might be British though, like from what I've seen. Like someone needs to go on the internet and actually find out what the guy is. Let's see. We got a couple of other things. This meme was really brilliant. I love this one. It's like, mommy, there are Austrian economists talking about government. Don't look at them, Ricky. I don't want you to be influenced by, oh God, no. But it was too late for Ricky. Government intervention in the economy only leads to higher prices, inefficiency, and tyranny. The freer the market, the freer the people. Metal piercing incendiary slugs would do the job. Look them up on YouTube. Yeah, aren't they banned though? What's the cool thing? The new Tim Pool company, SCNR. I don't know what that is. But it's true. Yes, no. The freer the market, the freer the people. You can have a free market and then a dictatorship, but that happens like really, really rarely. The opposite is usually when you have a free market, you have free people. But you know, like the more government intervention into markets, yes, the more expensive the prices go. Because usually, like the people who own shit, they don't want to pay from their own pockets the extra taxes or whatever, so they just increase the prices. Let's see what else we got. Oh, you know, like here's something new. Here's something new and beautiful. Right? Something cushy. There is this Romanian mathematician girl who got the European Society Prize for Mathematics in major research, and she won it not once but twice. And I thought I would just share this with you. She's actually younger than 35. 4 years ago, she got the prize, which belonged to Ciprian Manolescu from Stanford University. The only person in the world which got 3 perfect scores at the Math Olympics, the International Math Olympics. Yes, believe it or not, there is something like this. There is the Math Olympics, and it's people go there and they do math. And she managed to win not once but twice. This is how Romanian girls look like. Okay, this is because a lot of people ask me like, V, how do Romanian girls look like this? No, I don't think she's a fraud though. Like, the thing is, like, if it was rigged, why would they give it to a Romanian? Like, there's other women there. They would give it to a German woman. Progressive. I don't think she's progressive. Let's see what else we got. Not banned, expensive though. Yeah, you can be a math athlete. But I do remember Rahman, that's banned by the TOS. I do remember when I was in high school, you do have like Olympics for different things. Like there was the History Olympics, there was the English Olympics, and the way it worked was that every kid in a class would go and first they would compete on a high school level. And then after the high school level, you have like the best winner, which goes and competes at the, I guess you would say at county level, and then you'd have like state level and then international level. But the thing is, like, I won at history twice, but the cheap ass teacher didn't want to allow me to progress. I think either she was really uninterested in it, or there was some shenanigans afoot. And I think there were shenanigans afoot. Like, I generally think it was someone else that was supposed to go. And it was really annoying. Imagine getting the biggest prize, buddy, and imagine getting the biggest grade and not being selected. Especially when teachers were actually graded positively if they had kids that went to the Olympics. Back then, the idea of trans being in the public discussion wasn't even a thing. So no, I don't think it has anything to do with me being trans or not. This news is just the best. Like this, my God, this is something that I would do if I was a kid. 2 9-year-olds cut their teacher's Wi-Fi so he doesn't send any more home. How fucking based is this? You know, like, this is the type of kid that companies should look to recruit. If I was a company recruiter, this is the kid that I want for my company. I would give him like a good position there. I would give him a high up. It happened on the afternoon last Sunday in Albacete, Spain, where 2 9-year-old boys, classmates, neighbors, and friends carried out a strategic plan to end their daily student struggles. After finding out the teacher's address, and by the way, we're talking about 9-year-olds, right? Like, we're not talking about someone that's 34. No. They found out, so they doxed the teacher, and then they took advantage on the absence of people on the street because of the curfew. They identified what the network wiring was, and using a ladder, they cut it. But unfortunately for them, the teacher herself was leaning out the window watching the students. Like, can you believe it? Like, if it wasn't for this coincidence, we never would have known. I have picked by chance and I have seen the 2 students at work. They were cutting a cable from the facade. I do not know why they intend to do it, but of course it was not a good thing, said the teacher to the local cops. After the arrival of the parents, the kids confessed, it is that she sent us many duties, that is why we cut off the internet. Fucking based! Man, this is like, I think the first time on the internet that I'm looking at criminal activity, you know, people savagely disrespecting private property. Probably a lot of other issues as well, but like the The genius of it all impresses me. Like the IQ you need to have in order to commit this crime. So you have to dox your teacher. You have to figure out where the cables are. You have to think about the idea. It's like their problem initially was like, we're getting too much homework. How can we get less? It is that said the spirit duties. That's why we got the internet. The teacher did not want to report the facts after the parents promised to fix the damage. Oh my god. They could have gotten electrocuted. Well, they didn't. Like that's another thing. They knew how to cut it without getting electrocuted. You have to be good at math to bake. Do you? Yeah. No, like regula de tres simple, the 3 simplified rule, or whatever you call it in English. But yeah, you do need math in order to bake. It is interesting. It's like, what do you do? Oh, like see that's actually a problem that we're solving better than the math problem. It's like problem for kids, creativity time. Teacher gives too much homework. Fix it. I wonder if they went to like a war room and they discussed this. They were like, okay, so first we need to dox the teacher. Secondly, we're going to take advantage of the lack of people on the street. Third, we need to get some isolation material like rubber gloves or something similar. Then we need a ladder. Like the only thing they didn't thought about is like we need to find out the teacher's schedule. Like when is the teacher looking out of the window so that she doesn't catch us, you know? Oh my god, I really hated teachers. I guess this is why I kind of feel for the kids. I really hated the teachers that would give just way too much homework. Way too much homework. Okay, I'm not going to show you this, but this kind of annoyed me, you know. Let's talk about male genital mutilation. Very interesting topic. Why do Americans do it? Like, I understand it's a Jewish and a Muslim thing, right? To cut the cock. I get that, but why is it that Americans do it? Like, this is what I do not understand. Like, here's the thing. It's like, oh, health reasons. It's like, oh, yeah, but you don't cut open a baby to take his appendix out because of health reasons. Like, there are other countries that don't do it. If it gets infected, you treat it. Like, why would you cut it's insane. The biblical explanation is also retarded. It's like, okay, so God creates the cock, but like that damn foreskin really can't get him sleep at night. Anyway, whatever. There's this picture with a baby. Little Michelle is getting his circumcision right now. Little Michelle. I'm in a complete different room and I can hear him screaming. It's so sad hearing him cry, especially since he holds his breath. I want to cry. I feel so bad. And I hate to hear him scream. And then like other people are like, oh, it's okay, he will forget about it. Oh, you're such a good mama, he'll be fine. But then I find something that really just breaks my brain. Like the mother just says, he had little tears. He's passed out on my chest now. The doctor said he pooped while they were doing it, LOL. What? How? The doctor said he pooped while they were doing it, LOL. He literally shot himself for the pain. What is so funny about it? Jesus fucking Christ. I don't know. It's a little like... The doctor said he pooped from the pain, LOL. I mean, you know, like, I don't know what to say to that. I literally don't. And then you have another thing. It's a sacrifice to Moloch, yes. Then you have another interesting thing. So, you got the study. Our problems began when we attempted to publish our findings. We tightly strapped an infant to a traditional plastic circumstraint using Velcro restraints. We also completely immobilized the infant head and used a surgical tape. The entire apparatus was then introduced, blah, blah, blah. So basically they're saying that the brain of the circumcised infant was permanently changed by the surgery. It was very similar to soldiers going through PTSD. Our problems have begun when we attempted to publish our findings in the open medical literature. All of the participants in the research, including myself, were called before the hospital discipline committee, and we were severely reprimanded. We were told that while male circumcision was legal under all circumstances in Canada, any attempts to study the adverse effects of circumcision was strictly prohibited by the ethical regulations. Not only could we not publish the results of our research, but we also had to destroy all of our results. If we refused to comply, we were all threatened with immediate dismissal and legal action. Paul D. Tinari, PhD, Director, Pacific Institute for Advanced Study. It's on my Twitter if you want it. Why is my nose itching so much? My guess is Americans follow a lot of trends from celebrities, and many of celebrities happen to be Jewish. I literally cannot explain. Like, you might say, well, there's a lot of Jewish people in America, like you can do that, but there's also a lot of Jewish people in Germany, and Germany do not cock that cocks. They don't cock cocks in Germany, do they? It's just an American thing. Like, and it's so bad that you hear American women, oh, I would never sleep with a guy that doesn't have his pee-pee cocked, because it looks ugly. It's like, woman, it's not a fashion statement, Jesus. Is it a fashion statement to chop the pee-pee? Huh? Hello, Alex. Yes, I am very serious. Vaginas are ugly. I mean, I never actually thought about admiring one, to be honest. Usually I just do the deed. I do not dwell on it, but, well, whatever. You prefer the fireman to have a helmet, huh? Alright, let's, Here's something interesting. Let me show you something that you probably don't even hear that much. I wonder if they study this guy at the university. Listen to this. Just listen to this.
Indeed, reduce freedom greatly. I would go beyond the question of equality. Freedom, those processes may indeed reduce freedom greatly. I would go beyond the question of equality and put it more generally, that any process to ascribe any status to any group of people, equality, inferiority, superiority, must necessarily reduce freedom, because whatever the government wishes to ascribe to any group, whatever place, to use the phrase that was very common in the South, that blacks should have their place, whatever place the government is going to assign to people, that place will not coincide, that place will not coincide either with what all those people are doing or with how others perceive all those people, because there's too much diversity among human beings. To maintain any system of ascribed status from the top is going to mean reducing people's freedom across the spectrum. That's the point.
People have an ascribed status. It isn't as if government, by its intervention, creates it. People are born into this world in a given sector of a society, and many, many of them are born at the bottom of the society. The argument about equality of results was an argument that was linked to equality of opportunity. People recognized that unless there was a degree of equality in a degree of enough food, enough security, access to education. Unless these things were available to all children, then equality of opportunity was merely a mockery. That's why equality of results became an issue, and it became an issue for black people in the United States, and they expressed their concern,
No,
whatever the opinion
You expressed
polls.
it, damn it, look. No, they did not. They did not.
They
Damn it.
expressed
Francis, finish it and then reply.
They expressed their will by their extraordinary participation in a protest movement that began in the late 1950s and didn't end until
I
the
have
1960s. Intellectuals were not in that protest movement.
You want me to
Black
answer or you want to keep
people were
going?
in that protest.
You want me to answer?
I
Yes.
finished.
Good. Black people have never supported, for example, affirmative action, quotas, anything of that sort. Wherever polls have been taken of black opinion on such matters of should people be paid equally or should there be this or that, black people have never taken a position that you describe. So it is not a question of what black people chose to do. It's what you choose to put in the mouths of black people. It is what you choose to project. It is not what any black people have ever said anywhere that you can put your
It's
finger
what you
on.
choose to put into...
I wonder why why these debates don't happen anymore, though. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? Like, no, you don't get to see these debates on television. And I'm pretty sure, like, he had the facts at the time. I'm pretty sure, you know, he actually had the surveys and the statistics at the time. Now, you know, maybe since then things have changed, and you probably get, like, through schooling and through other propaganda methods that people spend millions. Usually, the left spends millions of dollars in order to make sure that people think the correct ways. But back then, I definitely believe that Thomas Sowell was right. I don't know when this was taken, but you can look by the quality of the image that it's at least 20 years old. Yeah. Debating Sowell equals get wrecked. No, it was really interesting, and it's also interesting to see that people like Sowell, regardless of race and skin color, are being excluded from universities, and it is a shame. It is a shame of what's happening. Yeah, the video is probably from the 80s. Yeah, I think that would be correct. I will play video games after I finish this stream. We still got 20 minutes, and I need to think about what I'm going to talk about. Sowell looks good for 90. He's 90 years old, isn't he? Yeah. They don't count him as black. Well, yeah, no, seriously, like, leftist academics, and I have seen this constantly, when they talk about race, they separate genetics from ideology. So they say whiteness. Like, whiteness is a social construct. They do not mean white people. They usually mean meritocracy and capitalism. And then they make that to be white supremacy. And when they talk about black, they also say, like, blackness as a social construct. No, it's really interesting. Like, again, like, this is why the left can't meme, because you need to have all these construction of constructivisms, and basically, like, everything you talk about needs to be viewed in a interesting context. Like, for example, if you're in America back in the past during the KKK or whatnot, and you would ask for instances of racism, you would get plenty of examples. Like, you would get lynchings, you would get, you know, people having their houses burned down, you would get people beaten on the streets because of their color of the skin. Nowadays, racism doesn't mean that. No. It's more like income disparity. Like, that is what racism is. And it's like, it's more of a system of oppression. And it's like the society that keeps you down. And no, like, they have to change the definitions in order to make their ideology work. They will even say, it's like, oh no, like, oh, that's overt racism. No, but there's also covert racism, like in Splinter Cell, and it's a state of mind, and it's implicit biases, and even though you think you're not you actually are, and even if you think you're not oppressed as a black, you actually are. Like, you know, like, to me, when I looked into this, and I didn't understand any of the ideology, because I haven't read any of the papers, to me it seemed ridiculous that you have to teach people about their oppression in order for them to understand it. It's like, if you go to a Soviet gulag and you have people there working at minus 25 degrees cold without proper clothing, and you see them dying nonstop, I don't think you need to go to those people and explain to them, like, don't you think the communists are oppressing you? Like, don't you think you're being discriminated a little bit by finding yourself here, and it's a little bit inhumane? And you don't have to go to the communist that's defending, you know, the gulag, and say, hey, don't you think you're oppressing these people? Have you tried to check your privilege? Don't you think you're more privileged by standing outside of the gulag while the people inside are dying from cold? It's like, no, that's nonsense. You know, if people are actually oppressed, it's self-evident. You don't have an ideology that needs to explain to people that they're being oppressed. You know, like they did with feminism. Like, they would go to a woman, hey, do you play video games? Yes. Don't people give you insult based on the fact that you're a woman? Oh my God, they do. Oh, don't you think this is society and we need to change and whatnot? It's entirely stupid, and I don't understand how people buy it, literally. Like, even if I was young and impressionable, and I would go to a university and they tried to push this shit on me, it just wouldn't feel right. You know, it would contradict the rest of the world that I know. And then I would complain, and I would probably be, oh, this is white fragility. Like, I love how they actually have, like, another thing, you know, like, they call this science. Now that I've started, I can't stop. They call this to be scientific. Like they will say, oh, this is like science says it. Usually they say something like sociologists already agree that whiteness is a social construct or something like that. So they kind of try to push communism into the realm of science. Here's the thing with science, though. Every statement that you make, in order for it to be scientific, needs to go through the scientific method. So you need to have an experiment, a hypothesis, an experiment, and then peer review. Basically, other people need to be able to reproduce your experiment in order for that to happen. So in order for all of this to be possible, you need the statement to be able to be disproven. Right? So, for example, a statement that can't be disproven is Descartes' demons, right? Like, what if we're all brains in a jar and this is a simulation? Like, no amount of proof that you can give can disprove this. So the statement itself is not logical and it's not scientific. Even though it might be true. Yes, it could, the possibility that we're all in the matrix might exist. You cannot actually prove it, and therefore it's not scientific. And it's the same thing when you look at social justice. Like, most of the things that they're doing always seem to be unable to be disproved. So, for example, with feminism, right? They say patriarchy oppresses women. If you have a woman that says, I'm not being oppressed, they will say, oh, that's because it's internalized misogyny. So even though your experiences and what you're saying right now probably makes sense to you, what is actually happening is that due to your internalized experiences, you're subconsciously unaware that you are being oppressed. So they will say, okay, it's internalized misogyny. If you are a man and you talk against feminism, well, that just explains that feminism is right. And it explains that it's like a Kafka trap, like your comments justifies the article, So literally like everything, even if you were to say, well, I don't hate women, it would be, no, you hate women because you have implicit biases. Like literally, there is no way you can debunk, like there is... In fact, like, this is why they're against statistics in general by, like, for example, saying, okay, how much percent, like, how many women are being oppressed or, something like that. They can't do it. And the statistics are important because, all right, you want to change society. So you want to have, like, affirmative action. You want to have universities teaching people about gender ideology and all of this. How do you know, like, when your actions haven't worked? And society has changed. Like, how can you quantify that? How can you measure, like, the amount of new ideas that you have used to change society haven't actually worked? The patriarchy is a left-wing conspiracy theory. Oh, like, the patriarchy is the most retarded shit that you can possibly come up with. Like, okay, so the patriarchy says that men have invented gender roles in order to oppress women. And then you ask, like, well, what is a man? It's a gender role. So and it's circular. Like, it's circular logic. It's like the men invented gender roles. It's like, okay, but before the gender roles were invented, how can you say that they were men? Like, it makes absolutely no sense. It's circular logic. It's just like... And this is why, like, social justice activists will rarely want to have a debate because they cannot defend their debates. Like, even communists have a more coherent ideology and something that they can defend a lot more easier than people who are into social justice. The only time social justice activists are going to want debates is if the terms of service of that platform is in their favor. So they can say the most ridiculous stuff and the most outlandish stuff, but if you say something that's even remotely offensive, they can ban you. And they will usually justify that, like they will get you talking on a stream for 3 or 4 hours until you say something that's a little bit offensive, and they go like, aha, terms of service violation. I have seen that happening many, many times. It's why I don't even do debates anymore. It's like I have seen people abusing the system so many times. I am perfectly fine with having a debate in real life. Yeah, like just, or in private or someone. I'm fine. Have the debate in private and then put the logs that I have spoken with you, put them up or somewhere. But other than that, no, it's like you cannot have these debates on social media. And you can go on Twitch to debate, but like just because you're debating it on Twitch doesn't mean you can't have consequences on YouTube. Because I'm seeing this inter-platform banning happening, like with Patreon, for example. I have seen, what was it, like Third Flinging Monkey got Subscribe Star to complain about some of his videos. Like, no, it's just really no point. I used to have debates a lot, and I actually enjoyed doing it. Like, I remember when Bloodsports was a thing. I had plenty of debates. And I still wish I could. Like, I genuinely enjoy it. I wish I could even get guests here. But the terms of service are not set by me, and they're being enforced unequally. Like, no, just think about it. Okay, think about it. Like, let me put you in an example. Let's talk about transgenders, right? You can have a left-leaning person that would say, I wish there was a law passed that parents would be criminalized if they try to convince a trans kid that he isn't really trans. And I think in Germany there's going to be such a rule, such a law. He could say puberty blockers are great, transgender surgery for kids is amazing. Like, he could say all of these things and there would be absolutely no consequence ever. Like, he can be as far to the left as he wants. He can go all out with this. But if you say something on Twitter, like, I don't think trans women are actually women, boom, terms of service violation. You know, like, how can you have a debate that's honest? And it's actually like you're trying to talk about things when the moment you mention something, like, for example, Jack Dorsey and Tim Pool, right, they did this debate on YouTube. But if Tim Pool would have been on Twitter and he would have said something that's like, well, you know, misgendering is a political right-wing issue, blah, 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 he would have got banned from Twitter. So how can you have a debate? Like, seriously, and this is just one example. I can go on and give you another. Look, the quarantine and its restrictions. I have seen YouTube taking down channels because they disagree with the quarantine. So let's say you have a debate between a person that lost his job 2 years ago and is desperate, doesn't know how he's going to provide for his family, and a person that works at a journalistic outlet and works from home and hasn't lost his job nor is in any danger of losing his job. The person that hasn't lost his job can say, well, I want the shutdown to last for 27 more years. He can say the most absurd things that he wants. He can say, you know what, I think people should be just locked into their homes and just have like someone deliver food to them. He can do that. But if you're the other person, the moment you say something, yeah, I don't agree with the lockdown, boom, terms of service violation. It's like, no, you cannot have these conversations on YouTube anymore. And I don't think you can have them almost anywhere. Maybe on DLive or something like that. You know, like maybe there is something you can have. But I don't know, it's not just, and assuming that the conversation were actually in good faith. Like, I watched Bloodsports for entertainment. I didn't watch Bloodsports in order to get some deeper philosophical understanding. And to me, it was entertaining to participate in them. I think it was a really good lesson of oratorical lesson. How do you say when you learn how to speak properly? You know, something that I lack. I wish that, like, here's the thing. I think that a debate between Styx and Vaush would be very interesting. I'm all for it for happening. Like, I want Styx to debate Vaush, because I think it would be entertaining. I don't think I would learn anything from it, but I think it would be entertaining. But I do understand what Styx is saying here. It's like, you go into a live stream that can last for several hours, and then all they're waiting is for you to say something ridiculous so they can go like, haha, gotcha. And you also have actual journalists. Like, you have journalists listening to this. I wouldn't be surprised if someone that has his crosshair on Styx for many years now, which is Right Wing Watch, Mr. Holt, would be watching that debate, you know, just sitting there, you know, like the little weasel from the classroom, the little guy that would inform the teacher or whenever something bad would be said, and waiting for Styx to say something remotely offensive off the cuff after like 4 or 5 hours, in order to then write an article about it that would be taken by a bigger mainstream media publication, because that's pretty much how it works. And no, it's like, I do not think like these conversations about winning, like I've never seen, and this is all the time, like the type of person, like let's say Stephen Molyneux has a conversation with anyone else. His fans are going to say that he won, and the other person is going to have their fans saying that they won. Very rarely do I see people like changing their mind or opinion. It's like, oh yes, this debate really opened my eyes or something. If you want a proper debate, it should be with a moderator and every person has like 2 or 3 minutes to speak. That would be a proper debate. You know, you have like 3 minutes to speak, moderator cuts the mic. that would be an actual conversation surrounding academic and intellectual, like pretty much like the presidential conversations, like the presidential debates. Other than that, it's just people sparking and talking over each other. Because it's the internet, like I don't know when the other person finishes their sentence. It's difficult not to talk over them. Screw the terms of service, give up on YouTube. Well, unfortunately, is the way I make money right now. Thank you, Mr. Angry. Who is the moderator? Yeah, well, that would be also an interesting thing. Who would be the moderator? Like, you would have to get... whatever. I'm probably going to do a live stream soon about me playing video games. But before I do that, I want to tell you something that I find very interesting. So, yesterday, I made fun of a thought. I usually don't do that, but this one was particularly interesting. She came up to me, compared me with, compared her tits with Arif's, if you guys remember. Let's see if I can find the link, though. Give me a second. Let me just go through these things. I think I'm really close to finding it. Why didn't I have this link saved? It's really bizarre. Maybe I should... Maybe this is a sign. It's a sign from the heaven that I should live... Oh, okay, I found it. I thought it's a sign from the heaven that I should leave it for tomorrow. Okay. So I made fun of this internet chick, which was grabbing for attention. And then she contacts me and she's like really nice about it, and she actually found it funny. But it's interesting because I go on and I look at what she's doing, and it's just really sad. It's like Jessie from Final Fantasy. Like, this lady is so thirsty and craving for attention. It's not even funny. It's like, look, she's responding to H3H3 by showing boobs and saying you can conquer me. Like, this is something called plugging. I understand, like, you're plugging yourself to a famous tweet, and then, like, the responses that you get from people are utterly funny. It's like, she's got, I'd argue spouting your stupid, unwarranted opinions to someone on Twitter is worse. A guy was made gay because of this picture. You guys are funny, she responds, and she gets in exchange... This girl needs a nice helping of Muhammad in her life. And she responds, nah, Jesus is all I need. Then you have people declaring a crusade on her. You wasting water, says someone that's an environmentalist. And she's like, it's a bathtub. I'm not really that rich. You know what? I'm going to dedicate my place in life to make this thought popular. Like, I literally want... It's sad. Like, what I'm seeing here is really sad. Like, it shouldn't be... Like, it's against the nature of the world. Like, you can't have a pretty lady like this being disrespected. Like, I want to see if I can do it. You know what? Like, if I manage to make her popular, I'm going to start a service. I can start an entire business where I teach girls how to be popular on the internet. They are even responding on the Pope's tweets. Yes. What is her Twitter handle? Hold on, I'll it's creamy angel. Yes. Of course, I'll have to delete the stream now because I showed the. Okay, so as you can live stream and then super chats on BitChute. Yes. All right, thought counselor. That's what I'm going to be doing. She watches It's a Gundam as well. Like, that's that's something that blew my mind. It's like she watches It's a Gundam. She is being And she's being really realistic about the issue. It's like, well, if men want to give me money, who am I to stop them? And it's like, maybe I'm going to become a fish, huh? Would be interesting. Anyway, thank you for watching. I'm going to be doing Final Fantasy next in probably 15 or 20 minutes or so. And I'll see you guys there. Take care.